like looks maxing. We called it reach maxing. But Rob was working with an agency that he paid like 5 figures a month to get like 10 million views. And then I came in, I remember I used to call myself this, like, I'm Department of Business Efficiency. I came in, created infrastructure. I kid you not, at the peak, Rob was getting like 125 million views per month.
How do you build that system?
So many people have this idea that they have to have like this grand plan and a whiteboard and year 1, year 2, year 3, phase 5.
What kind of role and what kind of AI do you use in your workflows?
But what I can say is that N8N, Appify, which is an API software platform to get like data scrapes and stuff like that. I don't want to get too much into spilling the sauce.
Welcome back to CredeCast, the podcast where we talk everything entrepreneurship, mindset, and all things leading to personal growth and self-development. Today, we have a special guest. We're witnessing a comeback. The guest today has taken a break from YouTube after amassing tens of thousands of subscribers, over 2.5 million lifetime views on YouTube, which I'd say is pretty remarkable to do. But behind the scenes has been working on many different things. I think there's been a lot of growth. But Michael, man, you disappeared for a while. How have you been?
Yeah.
Where have you been?
Well, I'm alive. Sometimes people comment and like, are you alive? What happened? Yeah, I'm alive, guys. Things like this happen. But no, I've been good. I've been good. You know, like you said, I've been working behind the scenes, a lot of big names, a lot of growth this past year, and skill sets that I've built. And it's coming time for me to return to the personal brand, the project that is Michael Drift.
Yeah, and that's definitely something we're going to get into a little more as we go on. But I feel like I kind of want to take it from the start, right? Because I remember when you had your break. That was at one of the most peak moments, actually. You know, there was a lot of eyes on you, a lot of eyes on your content, and kind of after that big movie mentoring, I know it's a concept that's baked into your content. You know, you dedicate a lot to those, right? And we had that big swing, and after that, you know, we can talk about what happened, or we don't have to, but
no, we can.
Yeah, we'll talk about what happened, but after that, there was kind of the disappearance. So why did you leave? Why did you leave YouTube?
What's that? When we needed him most, he disappeared.
He vanished.
Yeah, no, bro. I mean, I guess in short, the moviementary is a very intensive style of content. And if you've seen any one of them, you'd know, especially if you're a one-man show like me trying to pull it off, it takes a toll on you. And I guess the story is not what happened was I released the War on Masculinity. That was the last appearance of Drift.
Yes.
And this was at the time, I think it was 2023. So it was peak like culture war, Andrew Tate, Red Pill era. And now it's 2025. So it's definitely a different landscape. But at that time, it was one of the most hottest topics. And I was in my young 20s, and I'm sure some of you guys watching this know a little bit about me. So you guys know I was on my moviementary run. And that was the peak. And that was the one where I got like a really nice videographer. I put hours of research into it. I remember. Yeah. There was even controversy around the first version versus the version that I did after.
Yeah.
If you guys remember that. Yeah, it's crazy. It was, man, I remember. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting time in my life. But ultimately, the video ended up working. The first version, a lot of controversy over the sponsor and, you know, me trying to make a little money, which is a big part of what happened with the moviementary and why there was a big, basically, pause. But yeah, I took down the first version because I sold a little too hard. You know, I think integrating, you know, a supplement ad into the greater narrative as a solution to the problem is pretty innovative. Yeah. Other people called it pretty, I don't know, scammy. Yeah. Whatever. I helped fucking make that supplement with my boy Rob. So. And Rob's a big part of what happened after, by the way. But yeah, so I took it down, added like an extra hour of content, wanted to make my audience happy because they were all disappointed, re-released it, ended up doing better, 300K, and then I vanished. Yeah. At least to the public. I actually, at that time, started working on my next film. And I don't think I've ever talked about it publicly, but I don't really care at this point. next was going focus. So it was a jump from like, I want to say like maybe semi political type shit to like full on culture war, attack at like just what I saw is like the heart of the issue. And you guys have to know at this time, it was probably beginning 2024, late 2023. This is before, Elon got into it. And it was like especially towards the end of 2024, when it was election season was coming and it was like the most hectic thing. I foresaw that this was going to be a big thing. And I ended up making the entire film, believe it or not. I spent 6 months making it, hiring actors, getting the same videographer.
Wait, it was, you know what's crazy? I remember seeing you post like an Instagram story or something, and there was like a kind of like an election looking podium.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, this is the crazy part. I don't know, like maybe down the road I'll just release it for fuck's sake. But at the time, I was right in that topic became the biggest topic. Like that's usually how I pick these topics.
Yeah.
Because when I make movie mentors, I have to like look out 5-6 months into the future to what's the hottest thing. So I was right.
Yeah.
But I was wrong into thinking that I was ready to jump into that arena. Because especially 2024, you guys have to remember Trump almost got shot. Elon bought X. It was hectic. And I had to make a decision essentially. And it was like, if I release this, I'm basically forever a culture warrior. I'm getting into the most dirty arena, despite whatever your guys' views are. And how much have I made from this movie mentoring run? Well, I've made a good amount of fans, but I haven't made that much bread, money. So it wasn't the most profitable style. And then that's where the disappearance started for me. For you guys, if you still remember me, somebody just commented. They were like, "I started watching you when I was 13. I'm 17 now." That's hilarious.
So was it that? So was it that the realization that the monetizing on the content wasn't as straightforward as you had initially pictured? So that kind of led to you taking a step back, right? But initially you were planning to come back with another big swing video.
Oh yeah, it's done. Like it exists on my like the whole thing exists on my computer. Like it's done. There was even a moment where I uploaded a trailer and I had to stop it. I just had to like, no, I can't do this because I wasn't making money. And then I was going to enter the most political fucking, era of time. And with like, it was just like from a strictly like business sense, it's like, this is probably the craziest decision. Now, say what you want. The side that was against wokeness won. But if it didn't, I mean, I'm entering myself into an arena and then making myself it's essentially a target for an administration that would hate people like me. And then I also don't have money. I don't have like fucking millions of dollars to defend myself. So that's when I kind of had to hit a wall and be like, yo, like, what am I building this for? What was the point of all this? And I think I read a book. I did. I remember I read a book called Ego is the Enemy. And that's what really spurred me to like, just take a step back and say, fans are good. This movie mentoring thing is good. I like the name Michael Drift. I like what I built, but what is this amounting to? And Josh was part of my info program at the time, Contentpreneur. I had to shut it down. And yeah, that's how it happened.
For anybody watching, I think that's like the main takeaway. It's like from an outside perspective, that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants the views. They want the subscribers. They want the engagement because they believe that's what leads to, revenue. It leads to the lifestyle. But it doesn't necessarily work that way, right? And so kind of figuring that out, going through, how people say like you have to get it to find out that it's not,
Yeah, that was exactly.
It's funny. But interesting. So you took a break, but before we go into how and why you took a break, how do you now, being off the internet being off like, posting for this long, how do you feel about the evolution of one, the movie mentoring from back then to now, and two, just the audience and the whole space? Because between then and now, there's been a huge shift. Like, what's your perspective on that right now?
Man, I have a lot of takes. One of which is with my info program at the time, I was big on long form over short form and storytelling over telling. And I progressively, just maybe little spoiler alerts, what happened to the work I did after, but I progressively saw that short form kept winning over long form. And then I also saw that a lot of my long form peers in the space couldn't make it work. Leon Hendricks is a notable example of that. James Janney, I believe, is somebody who's openly talked about the struggle of monetization. I think there was even a point where Sinbad, I used to be part of his program back in the day, but like he stopped posting for a while.
Yeah, I think he's back now though.
He's back, and Andrift is coming back too.
Exactly. But, yeah.
So you know,
it's the big comeback.
We all had to do what we had to do to survive, I guess. But
yeah.
It just reaffirmed that you know, some of the angles and theses I had on terms of content creation was wrong in the ways that I guess mattered. I mean, I was right in terms of views and reach. If you want to beat everybody on YouTube,
yeah.
I was very big on be so good they can't ignore you. But if you want to make a business out of it, it is a different game, and short form is a big part of that. And that's kind of what I found out in terms of what followed.
That's awesome. You know, I was listening to I think it was an event with Colin and Samir and Stephen Bartlett from the Diary of a CEO. And he was talking about how he has like a disruption team in his business, and he has like I forgot the name, but he has these different teams that are actively trying to take down his current team. So he has a whole team dedicated to making just fully AI podcasts, and they compare to see if those podcasts will ever get better than his podcast. He said that it's gotten so good to the point they don't release any of them, but it's gotten so good to the point where they could put out an AI episode and you wouldn't know the difference. Like there wouldn't be a difference in the impact it makes. So maybe you'd be able to tell, but with the reach and the impact that it has, you wouldn't be able to tell. But the main takeaway of one of the things he said is you have to fall in love with winning, not fall in love with being right. And I think that's kind of like the concept, because you can just want to be right and just I'll die on this hill, but you have to love winning more. You want to die on the hill of winning.
Oh, I love that. I love that, bro.
So it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So let's get into the story. All right. After that, you decided, okay, this is controversial. I'm not going to release this movie Mentory. How did that transition? Because now, for those who don't know, Michael transition. He mentioned Rob. You guys may or may not know Rob the Bank, one of the biggest names in e-commerce, crushing it with TikTok Shop and a lot of things in that regard. And Michael was a core member of that team. So how did that come about?
So I realized that I can't release this. I realized I haven't made any money on this. At the time, like you said, I was just coming to the idea of like being wrong about my assessments and my approach. And I was having a bit of this like identity questioning thing.
Yeah.
And I was at a certain point, I read the book, it fucking destroyed me. I remember that. So if you guys are ever stuck in a hard place and you don't know what to do, and greed goes on me, but I read that book, it like demolished everything. And then I was like a blank canvas, and I was like, I need to just learn with no ego how this game actually works, because I was wrong about some of these things ultimately. And lo and behold, I reached out to my most successful contact in my network, who was aware of the public resume I built, and that was Robert Oliver, Rob the Bank. I reached out to him and had a phone call, and I was like, Rob, and you know, Rob is like kind of like, oh, what's up, Drift? Like, why don't you release? You need to release more. And I was just kind of like, bro, I was like, bro, I made this fucking film. I don't know what the fuck. Like, I don't know. Like,
not getting any money to.
Yeah, I'm not getting no money's not really coming in right now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go back to school. I already done made a whole fucking hit piece about my fucking employer.
Yeah.
So I was basically, all right, just calm down, Drift. Like, chill.
Yeah.
Let me put you on my team. You can learn and you can kind of get that experience. And it's poetic, bro, because absent that, I was like, fuck, do I have to like go back to grad school? And I actually deferred grad school a couple of years. I had like this prestigious whatever data science Georgetown thing that I always had as like my plan B if nothing works. So I had to go back, believe this or not, like this is one of the most painful things. I had to go back to like grad school for a bit. When I knew myself as Michael Drift, bro.
After all the views, after all the adrenaline.
Yes. That's why I could never have an ego, bro. I swear I could never have an ego after that, bro. Because I like my shit just got demolished, like to the point. And I'm here in grad school, and like, you know, the political environment was still very like questioning. So I'm like in this damn near pro woke school where I made this whole anti woke thing that I never released, and I'm like, if any of these guys find out about my fucking channel or my angles, I'm cooked. And then I'm like low key on Slack messaging Rob, like Rob's like, all right, can you do this, can you do that? And I'm working for free.
Yeah.
Beginnings. I just wanted to get my experience. So I want you guys to think about this, like Drift, like some of you guys know me. The movie Drift was working for free on content. For at the time, Rob wasn't as big on YouTube. He was bigger, obviously, on Instagram. I think he was like 250K, 300K. Yeah. And like I had a total ego collapse, and it was humbling. It was, I like to call it God. I think God had a reason for that. I don't think I was ready to release that film. And what ended up happening was I did well with Rob, and then I went from nothing to like a couple K a month. And then I slowly progressed, improved myself, and made small changes, improved myself. And then eventually, Rob gave me a full-time offer. And I was like,
let's go.
Bro, fuck school. This is my only shot at being Drift again. I got to fucking make this work.
Yeah.
Fuck school, left. I remember, I'll never forget this. It was like the first time Rob, you know, if you work for Rob, bro, like you're going to fly out a bunch and basically see the world, because he's always traveling here and there, and he'll take his people with him. Fire. I'll never forget, I went to a convention at the time. It was like Rob used to work with, Rob used to work with this community of people that did short form marketing content, like TikTok shop affiliate content when it started. Yeah. And I'll never forget this. I'm coming in there like, you know, Michael Drift, the guy that made like these long form bangers, Yeah. And then like, but still learning now, no ego. And I was in a room full of like 100 people, like kids. I'm talking about like 16 to 21, who were just making these TikTok shop affiliate videos. Like for example, like, here's how this gum made my teeth whiter, right? They were talking to each other. Oh, I make like 15K a month. Oh yeah, I make like 20K a month. I make like 50K a month. Oh yeah, these two brothers from Sweden make like 200K. And my mind was just like, I could not fathom. I was like, God, please, like, how much must you crush my ego? Like I understand. I didn't.
Yeah, because you go from spending all this on time, money, this intellectual to like craft this, you know, thing, this video, thousands of views, hundreds of thousands, millions of views.
Right.
And then the revenue is just not there.
Yeah, and revenue.
Someone is just like,
are literally being like, yo, this thing made my chest get bigger, and and they're fucking printing.
Yeah.
And it was just another reminder, like Drift, you literally can never have an ego ever in life.
Yeah.
And then that was the beginning of Drift and the Rob run, which was the following year, and a lot happened. A lot happened there. Growth for me, growth for Rob. It was, you know, kind of like we both met each other at the right times in our lives, and yeah.
No, the main thing I'm taking away from that story really is just two things.
Yeah.
One, it's what are you, that same core concept of wanting to be right versus wanting to win. Right. Yeah. And what are you holding on to? But something I think you glossed over, but I think is really important, is you worked for Rob for free. How many people are so tied up to the idea of what they want to do and who they are that they would never even do that? Like the first thing they would do is like somebody big reaches out to you to do something. They're thinking, how can I get a check off this? Like, okay, like if you want me to do this for you, you better pay me this. And I can almost guarantee that because you didn't have that outlook is part of what led to this relationship being there, you know? So it's like, always find a way to provide value regardless of, you know, especially when it's somebody you know is of value themselves. Like you don't have to worry about extracting resources from them, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how do I provide value in return? You know, what comes back from that?
I remember I would tell people, if you would have talked to Drift probably 6 months before my like no ego, I was wrong collapse thing, and told me, are you going to work for anybody? Oh, fuck no, I would never do that. I'm fucking, I would have all this shit. But if you look on a spreadsheet, like a financial spreadsheet, I would be so exposed. But that would be like the biggest. But no, I'm Drift. You see my comments? I have a what's coming. People write essays about, and then like I had all these reasons, right?
Yeah.
Um,
It's so
so
crazy.
it is crazy. I liked what I heard Hormozy say this in a short one time, but he said if you have basically if you have no money, like very few people have absolutely no money, but if you have like no money relatively,
Yeah.
then you have no shame.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the angle I had, and I can tell anybody watching like this past year was probably one of the biggest years of growth in terms of my info understanding, content understanding ever. And I got it through literally like killing myself figuratively, identity wise, and just being of use.
Yeah.
And just being a vessel of use. And so work for free and be resourceful. I think that it's a big thing with entrepreneurs. Like, yeah, I didn't have the biggest capital, but I did have a name, and I could show that to somebody who is resourceful. Obviously, rob the bank, right? And be like, look, I got a skill set. Let me just jump in.
100%. You mentioned this year has been the biggest year.
Yeah.
In terms of your understanding for info and all that, and now this is the part that I'm actually the most excited about because I want to know, right?
Yeah.
What is the biggest thing that you've learned in terms of now being behind the scenes of an info offer, of a funnel that goes, top of funnel, mainstream content to, nurturing content, and then funneling that into an actual info offer that converts, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is your biggest takeaway? What did you learn? Or because you ran your own info, like what were you missing at that time?
Oh yeah. Well, I think you spoiled it for them, man. The biggest thing, bro, was doing what works. What works over what you like. That was probably the biggest thing. My approach to content and everything was it's not necessarily a negative thing. There's a time and place to be personal and passion driven and your vision. But when I worked for Rob, I instantly saw why he was so successful is that he has such a detached approach to it. He will do whatever works. He's not attached to it. And like the term that kind of floated around is like he was just very autistic about it. And that's kind of what I adopted there. And I think that's probably the biggest takeaway. So just what works marketing, like you said, wanting to win more than wanting to be right. Rob didn't really have an attachment to this style or that. He was willing to experiment, he was willing to try. And through doing that, it really shifted my understanding, which was keeping it very personal and about me and my story. Whereas for Rob, it was, it really was spreadsheet stuff. It was like data, and it was like what it brings it in, more or less, right? Because it's a lot harder to be like that when you have all these people under you, right, who are eating under you.
Yeah.
So that was probably the big thing. Another big insight that I had is that I suspected and Rob suspected my entrance into his whole content thing. Because at first I started as like for free doing vlogs. Then I was YouTube director, and then for like at least 9 months I was like CEO. So I was running everything. So basically it was Rob who's like the figurehead, and I managed all the team
for the content side of things
and info.
Awesome. Okay.
So sales guys, setters,
damn,
everything. Yeah,
that's a lot of learning. Yeah,
a lot of learning. And what I can tell you guys, I never asked for a raise too. I just, guys, I'm telling you, I just gave all of myself to it. And that's maybe a secret, like this whole no ego thing, like it really worked. Just give all of yourself to it, pour everything into it. And I ended up getting that role. And we were, what Rob was thinking, what I was thinking is that my big run would happen in long form, but it ended up happening more so on short form. So that was another example of like, what would be good for the drift narrative? Well, I make, Rob a movie mentor, like the new big funnel for info, and then drift vibes his movie mentor style, poetic. Well, I did make Rob a movie mentor, and it did all right. I mean, there's reasons it could have done better, but it wasn't the big thing. The big thing was Rob and I basically, because once I really internalized that like autistic operator approach, because there's like a content creator, then there's a content operator, and I was a content operator, which means like I had to bring a lot of AI and data and systems and scale. And once I internalized all of that, I mean, it was incredible. A lot of you guys, if you know Rob, you probably know him from the Box Real Hope Core stuff that he does on his Instagram and on TikTok. I was a big part of that. I mean,
Yeah.
I was basically the architect of it. We found the style, we jumped on it, and then when I'm telling you, we created scale, bro. Like we had like we had it like a community of like at least 1,000+ people.
Talk to me about that.
Making money, clipping, like making these boxes for Rob. And I was talking with Rob every day, and we had a system that could give us viral videos, and we started calling it reach maxing.
Damn.
Like that was our term, like looks max. We called it reach maxing.
Damn. Talk to me about that, man. How do you build that system? Because it's one thing to have the idea. What does that system look like?
Well, that's the thing too. It's like just to even talk about the inception of it. So many people have this idea that they have to have like this grand plan and a whiteboard and year 1, year 2, year 3, phase 5 into the future. Yeah. Bro, it just stumbled upon us. Like that's what happens when we do rapid experimentation. I could tell you so many things that we thought would work that didn't work.
Yeah.
And it's just that the second we found something that worked, then we created infrastructure around it. And I don't want to get too much into spilling the sauce, at least not this early.
Not this early.
Because that's of my future at this point.
They'll have to tune in to the comeback.
Yeah, to the comeback, exactly. You have to tune into the comeback. But what I can say is that, I think we adopted a lot of what worked from the e-commerce angle, the TikTok shop angle, and having a bunch of people make TikTok shop videos for a product and how that marketing works. And then we just applied that to personal branding. And then we created a huge community around it. And we had a system to get viral bangers, and we had a lot of data in there. Yeah. And eventually I brought in a lot of AI solutions to it. And it came to a point, Rob was getting like, I'll put it like this, and this is not to bash any agency out there, but Rob was working with an agency that he paid like 5 figures a month to get like 10 million views. And then I came in, I remember I used to call myself this. I was like, like Elon with Department of Government Efficiency.
Yeah.
Dude, he would fire all the agencies. Yeah. I would call myself I'm Department of Business Efficiency. I would like, fire them. Let me do it.
That's fire.
Fired them. Bro, I came in, created infrastructure. I kid you not, at the peak, Rob was getting like 125 million views per month.
Damn. Now that's impact right there, man.
That's like 10x what he was, doing with that agency, and he wasn't paying them as much as he was paying this Drift right here. So I think that was just the big unlock, and all of this, like I said, it was downstream of me just basically letting go of my old style, letting go of who I thought I was or what the comments said I was, and just letting like the data and the world and the market tell me what works, and just being a vessel, and
There's 2 things I want to get into, but before, and one of them is AI. So I don't know if you've noticed, but on my channel, I've taken the route of I've started my own kind of AI agency helping businesses with automation, and that's kind of where my content is heading. So I definitely want to get into that. But before we do that, I want to ask, because one thing I've always noticed about you, and I see it here in the story you just told, is your ability to create frameworks, right? So anybody can start uploading a YouTube video, right? And I, like you said, I was in your info product, Contentpreneur, right? And even though I didn't end up, adopting the moviementary style and, going all in on that, I did learn a lot from that. And I genuinely really admired the way you were able to set up a framework, because that's something that not a lot of people can do. And if you have that mindset in terms of one thing, even if that thing is not producing, if you take that thing, apply it to something else, you can build a framework where it is producing. So what would you say, and I think this is something that's more like just natural to you, so you may not think of it as a big deal, but your ability to kind of establish a framework, how did you kind of develop that? And if someone wants to, let's say I want to develop a framework for something that how would you advise like people go about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, damn, I appreciate you saying that. I think that what you saw is what Rob saw, because Rob would, like, when he first hired me, he saw before, like when I used to do my movie-mentries, I had like this long Notion script, and Rob was just like, because Rob is, he has the tism, you could say as well. He was like, yeah, you're definitely autistic for sure. Like just the idea that I could just drop everything and then make movies, like that type of obsession and whatever. So I guess you could say there is a bit of a tism angle to that or something going on, but Um, yeah, I guess I'm a big fan of Notion, and like I put my whole life into Notion. Like if somebody wanted to, I'm not going to give nobody.
Now we know what the secrets are.
Yeah. Give that part. But
Yeah.
I use that like, bro, like everything. I think it just creates structure in my life. There's different types of thinkers. It's not to say there's right. There's like the impulsive, like, oh, this is a good idea. Let's hop on it.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of person that actually I found that Rob was. So, Rob has been in this thing for 10, 15 years. He's like sees through the matrix of everything. He can just make a call and it can be right. And then he would give it to me to make all of the systems and the infrastructure and, to sort out the capital and the talent and the people, right? So that was basically our combo, it's like Rob, like from high level sees everything and he's like, all right, this direction would work. And then I would do it. And I would say to give some insight into creating that. I mean, bro, there's flaws to it too, dude. Like Josh was part of my program. Bro, I was charging $7 a month for that.
Was it? I can't remember what it was, but I know it was super low.
Yeah, I was like I can, bro, it's kind of like it has like I can fucking dive. Look at the movie Mentors. Like any seasoned business person after the first one be like, yeah, we're not doing this again. Like, let's look at this spreadsheet. But me, I'm just like, I just dive in and then my brain just I just follow it all the way until the end. And that's just, I mean, it's kind of how I am. I fix it, if anything. I wouldn't even say it's the most positive thing. If anything, I think you guys should be like more lean startup, iterative, small tests, and then scale out what works,
But the thing is to scale out, you need a framework. But I think it is a hand in hand, because most people live in that ideation framework and they never actually execute, then get the feedback and then know what to actually double down on, right? Because they just stay in that. So there's a balance that comes to it. But I guess the short.
I would say honestly, if you have data and if you have something to pull on that makes sense to build a framework, then I would say that's the time to start scaling out and let that part of your brain run.
Makes sense.
And in terms of actually doing it, I mean, a lot of the time I just kind of put myself into shoes. Like I have to explain this to somebody that doesn't understand any of it. And then I just kind of break it down fundamentally. Maybe like probably not, one of my more natural skills, but really guys, like don't lean too much into that. Like you're talking to somebody that's been burnt by this shit. So I would tell you guys, if you have to lean into anything, small tests, small iterations, more indifference, follow what works, and then only get into like that nice system scale, building the pyramid stuff once you've validated it. And it's like, oh, this checks off the monetization box, the reach box, the info, like all the boxes,
Yeah. Awesome. So now the exciting stuff, right? AI. I think the boom of AI needs to be studied because it's crazy. It's so hype now that I think it might be a bubble, but the actual impact that it has is just so great that you can't underestimate that. So what kind of role and what kind of AI do you use in your workflows?
Awesome. Yeah, I can validate with the work that I did with Rob, AI was a big part of it. It was a big part of it. And like any arbitrage, when something is new and not everybody's using it the right way or they don't know about it, we exploited the shit out of that. I don't want to get into exactly how we did it because, obviously I want to make sure Rob is good, but I can tell you guys the tools that we used for sure. GBT was obviously a part of it. That's kind of like the generalist tool that made a big difference. I was a big fan of N8N. So N8N, I'll tell you this, N8N, Appify, which is an API software platform to get like data scrapes and stuff like that. We use stuff like Blotato's little secret sauce. Blotato's were auto posting and stuff like that. TikTok or social media. But I would just say that N8N, like me and N8N are like this. Like
really?
Yes. I was a Notion guy. Like I was a Notion guy.
You know what? I could see that. I could see that for you.
Yeah, you're right. You give a Notion guy like me, and bro, I just fucking dove in, and I'll tell you, this is something interesting. There was a kid that worked with me very closely. He was part of my team, and there was a point where I was doing so much on N8N. He like literally reached out to me and he was like, "Bro, like, are you gonna fire me or what?" Because like,
He's like, let me do my job, please.
Yeah, because I was just like taking over shit so fast. I'll,
Crazy.
I'll do this. Like we used to pay a VA to do metric tracking.
Yeah.
You have to think about it. We have like,
Yeah.
hundreds of videos
Got
of
it.
like short form videos releasing, and we got to track which ones are doing what, right? And all the different stuff.
Yeah.
And then like I got my hands on N8N, and like within a week, I'm like, all right, let's fire the VA. We don't need the VA anymore. Like that's kind of how I am. It's kind of fucked up. But
That's crazy.
once I like solve something and I don't need you, I'm kind of just like, wait, okay, bye.
Yeah.
And I go back to solving more.
Yeah.
And eventually I was like, I used to do all the analysis of the data and, looking at all the numbers and like this very like operator autistic content. Then eventually I was like, wait, why don't I just get AI to analyze this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you feed the whole data set into like a ChatGPT AI node. And then before you know it, this is one of the things that I guess made Rob, he bragged about this, I remember, to some of his people. He was like, bro, like I get Slack updates on just what to talk about based on data.
Crazy. Crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where I started to gain a lot of confidence again in terms of like, oh, okay, what's my new angle here? What's my new approach? What have I learned?
Yeah.
And I want you guys to remember in stark contrast to the movie Mentry, bro.
Yeah.
Like all of this is in stark contrast to what I did before.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said something so important there when you said Rob said he gets suggestions based on data.
Mm-hmm.
So working with AI, like kind of consulting with clients as well, it's like a lot of people, their approach to AI is just replacing things, right? So instead, what they would say, instead of what Rob said, is I get suggestions on what to say based on AI, not based on AI aggregating and consolidating my data.
Yes.
Right? And there's a huge difference because if you ask, like, what do I post about or what's going to go viral, it's going to tell you it's going to pull from random sources, random searches. But if you actually give it data, structured data that you're tracking, you're testing, the quality of the information is just so different.
Oh man,
So
bro,
it's
it's life-changing, bro.
You really have to know how to use it.
When I was in grad school, I was going to go in for data science. My bachelor's was information systems and operational management.
Talk about college being a scam.
Yeah, I know, right? I made this whole hit piece. I ended up fucking finding my way back to what I studied.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, it is true. When, like you said, it's not just the AI. Like you have to clean up the data. You have to keep it sharp.
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful that I had a space and a vacuum where I was basically paid to drive in results and learn.
Yeah.
So I combined my Notion, the autism shit, and then I had the N8N, and I had all these different tools, and I just brought it together, and then it ended up being this incredible run. I mean, Rob, I think from the start of it, he was like, what, like 250K, 300K. Now he's like, basically, I think today he'll hit 1 million, like today. I know I mentioned that in my goodbye message. I was like, you guys are a couple of days out. Congrats to the team. So, yeah, it is the future. And yeah, I mean, shout out to Rob because, he found talent and he gave it, space to kind of pour itself into it.
So now we kind of gone into that little arc after the movie Mentry, working with Rob, flying everywhere. We didn't talk about that. Let's touch on that. The
Sure.
lifestyle change, like, because I know you said you went to college, you hated that, and now you're working with Rob. He's traveling everywhere, meeting all these info people, ecom people. Like, how was that lifestyle shift for you? Like, I feel like that just,
bro, it was fucking life changing, bro. I remember how much it meant to me in the beginning of it because I saw Miami, I saw New York, and Rob, he's staying at the top places and he takes care of you, and you get the Uber Eats at the fucking best restaurants, and it truly is. It opens up your mind to what's possible, and there's so many like young, successful online money people that you meet, and I think one thing that you learn is like they're not necessarily like high IQ geniuses. I mean, a lot of them, they just gambled on the right things. And they just kept going, and they had hurdles, and they have all these different things. So it's been great. It's been absolutely great. It's like you skip a lot of steps. I would say I've probably been to Puerto Rico where Rob's lived at least like 5-6 times. I've been to Miami at least 5-6 times.
Yeah.
So I would say like meeting everybody. I think one thing you learn too is like everybody has a story. there's some people that like just to even be in that arena or to be with those type of people. Oh, everybody got a story. You know, Drift's the movie guy, whatever. But this guy was on Channel 5 News. It was about to get arrested, and then this guy did. Like everybody got like a cool, interesting lore.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's good because it kind of shrinks you. You're not special anymore by any means. I can tell you that, like, in that world, like, bro, I was not special at all, bro. I was like, there was like, oh, you're like the movie kid or something like that. You know what I mean? But to them, it's like, oh, some movie kid that's hanging around Rob. Okay, whatever. You know, so it's very humbling in a lot of ways too.
Yeah. But it expands your mind. You see how big things are and things can get. And I feel like your standard for what you want for your lifestyle also increases. Like you can't see something like that and just be satisfied with like your baseline increases is what I
for sure.
think.
For sure. You see that a lot of things are possible. I would try to explain to people what I saw and like back home, and it's just kind of like
They don't get it.
they don't get it, bro.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, it's been a blessing, man. It's been a blessing across the board. And I think the big thing is you see from all of them is that, you know, they all to some extent bet on themselves at some point, and they all follow what works. And they all kind of share similar qualities that you want to adopt.
Makes sense. So now, what is next for Mr. Drift, and what's different about this run this time around?
Yeah, I would say what's different, at least like primarily, is I'm telling myself I'm not going to spend 6 months making a return movie-mentary. If I do that shit, I've learned nothing.
You don't want to lock in and give us the drop a banger?
Can you imagine? Like I just like play all night. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. But I'm gonna look at kind of my return as just like taking everything that I've learned this past year in terms of just doing what works, iteratively trying, experimenting, small tests.
Yeah.
If I say a dream vision or something that I'm kind of latching onto now, is that I know that the system and the thing that I created for Rob was fucking incredible, and he capitalized on it. But I know that with the right team, this can kind of be scaled out, you know, and this could be its own business. And that could be, you know, finally, if I prove it enough with the business, then I can maybe add the right info to it.
Yeah.
And another thing that I see too is like whatever content that I want to make that's just like for me, like just for me and not for the business, I kind of want to separate them. That's probably a big thing. So I don't want to try to force some storytelling passion thing with whatever I do in terms of a business sense.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that, you know, I get this thing going so well that I can just kind of, you know, create on my personal, or I guess my main channel, the stuff that I want to create.
That makes
and
sense.
Kind of let that be like, you know, my personal brand for the sake of it, while I separate it out. But yeah, man, I think there's another good book called Greatness Cannot Be Planned. And the whole thesis of that book is just to say, you kind of hold yourself back more trying to force fit what you want your greatness to be than just taking the next curious step, the next thing right in front of you, and letting it kind of form itself. So no big vision, you know, just humble actor trying to work and see what's in front of me, what opportunities are there, going to be resourceful as always, and you know, make my way back to the channel and kind of, you know, make some good content for the people that have been following me all these years.
Sir, that's awesome. That's awesome. When also, like, how do you like what do you think the evolution of those people are? People who watched you then and now.
Oh man, bro. I think better or worse. I didn't know it at the time, but a lot of the people who watched me back, they were self-improvement people for sure. But they were like conspiracy, you know, you know, conspiracy angled. And I get it, bro. I was in my young 20s, testosterone fucking through the roof. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
The world is out to get me.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a lot of them going on.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of them probably are similar to me, man. Real life hit, you know, some real decisions. You know, it's easy to kind of watch this type of stuff and be into it when you don't have all these commitments and responsibilities.
Facts.
But, you know, as life proceeds and I think if you ask me, you know, things got kind of better. It didn't get in the worst direction. You kind of realize, all right, so like, what am I going to do with my life? You know, like aside from all of this, and for a lot of them, I don't think it's fight the matrix, for better. I think kind of you just improve your life, do what you can for your people and your circumstances, and kind of enjoy it. So I think they're probably doing
Probably on
something,
a similar line.
yeah, similar lines now.
Doing something to improve their lives. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. If you could sum up, like, what would you say is, or if you don't have one, that's fine as well, like your North Star? Because I feel like initially for all of us, it was more like metrics, YouTube, content, views, and building this, brand that would lead to this thing, right? Now, is it more revenue? Is it more impact? Is it still content? What is kind of that North Star for you right now in this season?
I think Naval had a really good. I quote Naval like every day, but he said, "Happiness is just working on what you want to work on with the people that you want to work on it with, where you want to work, like in the location that you like."
Facts.
And I think my North Star is really just as simple as, bro.
Yeah.
I think that's enough for me, man. If I'm, and I am excited by like the fusion of content and AI and how it will shift kind of everything and level the playing field in a very new way. Like when I had, when back in my day, I'm Unc now, I had to fucking pay for locations and shoots and
Yeah.
get acting talent and script everything from this brain right here.
Do you see those
And
new
now,
video clips? Dude, it's crazy.
yeah, now you see Sora 2 and all these different things, and you're like, wait, you can just prompt your vision.
Yeah.
And I think that levels the playing field. You don't have a lot of you young guys, you're not gonna have to take the sacrifices that I did to pull off your vision. And
crazy. Yeah.
you're a lot easier. So I think that's where my future lies. Just taking everything I learned from the Rob era, turning it into something that can serve a wider group of people. I think I've passed the phase where it's just like work under a rich person. Now I can kind of serve maybe multiple of them, or maybe have an info thing that educates people and gets them on track to start making their first however many Ks using these skill set. So I think that's kind of like a vision North Star.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, it's so crazy because even with the whole AI thing, like I can't tell you how many ads I see, and I know it's AI. Like the solar ads are AI. The whole like, and it's getting so good that like you can still tell, but it's like it's not that big of a deal anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's dead internet theory. If you ever heard of that concept, it's an interesting concept that pretty much says eventually, if AI starts to get so good that all of the internet will be a bunch of bots and operators who are pumping out AI content, and that it will kind of wipe out the human intervention, and like the internet will eventually be dead, right?
Interesting. Wow.
It's interesting concept. Well, the point of it is just to say that it's definitely going to shift the playing field in the same way that when like the dot-com bubble came and storefront wasn't the main means of buying products, it was through online interfaces. I think that we're living through another revolution of how people shop, how people behave, how people consume content, what they consume.
Yeah.
And if I've learned anything from Rob's story or from the guys that've been around, this is the time to jump in head first and absorb as much as you can and be at the forefront of it.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you for the wealth of wisdom and experience that you have to share.
Bro, thanks for having me. What a kickoff. Back to the moniker project.
100%. There's just one question I like to end off with. And usually I feel like I could predict the answer to this question for whoever it is. So I'm gonna tell you when you answer it if I got it right or not, right?
Okay.
But
cool.
The question is, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh man, cool network of people.
Yeah.
I would say marketing. I think I'm going to stay in the marketing space. What I did was for a personal brand, but I'd like to do it for e-commerce brands. I'd like to do it for softwares. I'd like to do it for my own brand. I'd like to teach other people how to do it for brands, and hopefully have enough space and time where I can make some signature storytelling drift content old fashioned style, not moviementary, but like that, the sound design and, just that narrative of
Yeah.
what's going
Yeah. Makes
Was
sense.
that match or no?
That did not match. Funny enough.
Oh,
So
okay. Give
this
me
is
a better idea.
this is the
Give me a better
first
idea.
time. This is the first
Okay,
time I
go
was
ahead.
wrong.
Yeah.
Interesting. And if you had something to say to Drift in 5 years, what would you say? Because I like to think of these podcast episodes as one, advice to my younger self always. That's kind of why I started this, because if you have information, you don't have to make a lot of mistakes, and you don't have to spend as much time like in the problem. You could just
Right.
time travel, right? So it could be a piece for you to look back on maybe one day and be like, oh, what would I say to myself if I was seeing this in 5 years?
If I was seeing this in 5 years, I'd tell you, man, you've been through a lot of turbulence. So whatever shit that's in your life right now, remember you passed through a bunch of shit already. So just keep going. I tell them never to lose hope and to, despite the circumstances, because I always make the assumption that some shit is popping off in my life. It's just like natural.
Same.
And, I just try to remind myself, you went through this, you went through that, you went through this. So whatever is in there is just, it's really nothing. I'd also tell myself, don't you ever have an ego ever. Don't you ever write someone off. Don't you ever think that you have it all figured out or that somebody will never figure it out. The person that you help today and that you give a hand to can give you a hand tomorrow that's above you. So I would stay sharp. I'd always stay learning and experimenting and hopefully, probably finding young talent and giving them opportunities because I know how much that meant to me. So I kind of harbor that. And shout out Diego for anybody. Well, you guys wouldn't know Diego, but Diego was a kid that worked for free on my movie Mentry. In fact, he worked for free on the one that never released. And then I was able to bring him into the Rob world, and he got big opportunities, and he got to travel. Like he just got back from LA, and now
Shout out
he's
Diego.
kind of taking over a bit of what my role was for Rob. He's stepping up, and just doing that for Diego, man, it's like it's a blessing. And if I can do that on a bigger scale, if I can help people like Rob on a bigger scale and have that type of impact, man, I think that's you're doing it right, Drift. You're doing it right.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, love that, Mike. Welcome back to the internet, man. And everybody go follow his comeback journey. All the links are going to be linked below. And
Awesome.
thanks for watching. And my signature line, I haven't said this in a while, but
Yeah.
remember, belief is just the beginning. That's it.